Hello, and welcome back to the Pokemon Lab. Today, we're going to be using Mew. I figured since I used Mewtwo the first time, using Mew this time would probably be the best option. See how he stacks up against his genetically modified brother, or his son, daughter, child. Anyways, rules are going to be the same as last time. Number one, only using the target Pokemon, so only Mew. I can't fight with any other Pokemon. If I lose with Mew, I have to start over. Number two, no random encounters or optional trainers. I'm only fighting the trainers that I absolutely have to fight. That way the stat experience is the same between each run. Mewtwo is going to have the same stat experience that Mew is going to have because I'm going to fight the exact same trainers. Number three, I'm hacking in a certain set of items. Rare candies, max repels, max elixirs, full restores, and then 3 master balls. I'm using the rare candies to level up anytime I lose in a fight. I'm going to do this until I win the fight. Number 5, no bicycle. I want to keep it as consistent as possible. Again, I'm doing this to try and eliminate as many variables, and keeping track of when I use the bike and when I don't is really hard. So I'm going to just walk everywhere. That way it stays exactly the same movement-wise. And finally, number 6, the only items that I'm going to pick up are going to be TMs that I'm going to end up using. With all that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get started. I hope you enjoy it. If you like it, make sure to like. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you can think of anything that needs to change or another variable that I can cut out, feel free to let me know. I'd love to hear your feedback. And sadly, we're going to start off on a very bad note with Brock. Mew starts with Pound, and that's it. He learns Transform at level 10, but don't have that yet for this first fight, and Pound does nothing. Versus Mewtwo's Psychic, it's really showing the difference in the two Pokemon right away. Immediately, we're forced to use 8 rare candies before we can actually have a shot at beating Brock. I skipped all the failed fights, minus the first one, just to show you that obviously he lost that first one. He wasn't even close to taking out the Geodude. There was no shot, even if he did somehow manage to take that Geodude out, there was no shot that he was going to take out Onix. So I just lost, kept resetting, adding a rare candy, fighting again, until I got to level 15. And at level 15, I think I finally had enough. I beat him out. I probably could have had a little bit more health if I had used the Transform sooner. But the problem with Transform is that it only gives you 5 PP for each move that you get. So I only had 5 tackles, 5 screech, and 5 bide. And I needed to get Onix's health down quite a bit. So I transformed. I used the screech because the screech lowers his defense. Obviously that's going to be the best. Just use 5 screeches if I can. And then tackled him to death. I got lucky. I was getting really worried at this point in the fight. I mean, all Onix had to do was bide once. I really didn't have an answer for that. I got lucky that when he did choose to tackle me and hit me, I was able to use bide myself to finally knock him out. So then now we're going to the second rival fight. From here it gets a little bit easier for Mew. Pound is a pretty strong move compared to tackle. It's not as strong as Mewtwo having Psychic, but whatever. And then obviously learning Mega Punch is nice. I could have picked up the Mega Punch in Mount Moon, but I didn't want to go out of my way to get it because I knew I would learn it. So I just opted to learn it. It's not that great of a move anyways because the accuracy of it, I think it's 85% accuracy. It's not very good. So, but it does a lot of damage. It's a lot more damage than Pound. So it's a useful move to have, at least for now, until I get something better. So I beat Misty pretty easy. She wasn't super hard. I didn't think she would be. And then we're make our way down to Vermilion City to the SSN, fight the third rival fight. It's also pretty easy now that we have Body Slam, which I got from the kid in the SSN. It's a pretty easy fight. Then we go to Lieutenant Surge. I didn't even fully heal. I figured Surge is pretty easy. He doesn't have a whole lot of good bulk. I think Raichu's the only really bulky one. It's not even that bulky. And it has Thunderbolt, but that's about it. And then once I beat Lieutenant Surge, I learned Thunderbolt. So that's a pretty good move. I think Mew and Mewtwo's move pools are the exact same by the end of it. So I get Ice Beam here, I have Thunderbolt, I have Bubble Beam, and I have Body Slam for now. By the end of it, I think I switched to Psychic, which makes sense because that, you know, you want that stab for some of the Pokemon. Then we get to Rocket Game Corner. Giovanni's pretty easy when you got Bubble Beam. Erica's also pretty easy with Ice Beam. The Vileplume and the Victory Bell can both put you to sleep, which can be a kind of a pain, but they only did it one time and I immediately woke up. So I got pretty lucky with that. And then I learned Psychic, traded out for Body Slam. I might have kept Body Slam a little bit later, but seeing as Mew's attack and special stats are the exact same, they're both 100 base. His stats are 100 base across the board. So I kind of didn't see the point in keeping Body Slam when Psychic has higher base power than Body Slam. So we went to Koga next. Other than Brock, still haven't used a rare candy, which is nice. I put the little graphic in the top. Hopefully that helps keep track of how many rare candies that I've used. And I'm also going to put it in the final tier list. I think I'm going to add a spot for how many rare candies used. That way I can use that as kind of an extra judge over the level as well. Especially considering some Pokemon are in different level up groups. Like, I think Mew is fast level up group. Mewtwo is in the medium, I think. I'll have to look it up. But yeah, some Pokemon are going to gain levels a lot faster than others. So it helps to keep track of how many rare candies that I've used. That way I can make sure that I'm accounting for that when it comes to making the tier list. So we do the 5th rival fight now. Still pretty easy. He doesn't have a fully leveled up team yet. This fight gave me a bit of an inkling as to what was going to come in regards to the champion fight. It was right around here that I started to realize that maybe getting rid of Body Slam for Psychic wasn't the best idea. The Alakazam is still a pretty low level at this point, but even still it took 2 or 3 hits to get rid of him there. Then got Lapras. And then we fight Giovanni again. Same story as last time. Giovanni's pretty easy, especially when you have Stab Psychic for the Poison type Pokemon and then Bubble Beam for the Ground type. They're pretty strong moves. And Sabrina's not really any different. And here's some more evidence to show that maybe getting rid of Body Slam wasn't the best idea. The Kadabras and the Alakazams that Sabrina uses really put up a good defense, seeing as every one of my moves is special. If I had kept a physical move, probably would have been able to deal with them a lot easier. Luckily, I get the freeze on it, so it doesn't really matter. But our first few Pokemon were any indication, that would have been a much tougher fight had I not gotten the freeze, especially with them using Recover. Blaine's pretty easy with Bubble Beam. His Pokemon pretty much go down. The Arcanine has the chance to use the Fire Blast and Fire Spin, but I don't think he was faster than Mew, so it really wouldn't have done much. And then Giovanni is also just super easy. Just Bubble Beam everything. I've never really thought about this before, but Giovanni really is just kind of he's like a big brother to Brock. He's got the same kind of style that grounds rock type. I mean, both Geodude and Onix are ground type. So he goes down the same way Brock did. really easily. And then we moving on to the final rival fight immediately after. That's the nice thing about just having the max elixirs and the full restores, is that it makes this process a lot bit faster and a lot more consistent. I can just kind of move from fight to fight. I know I'm cutting in between each one, but really the time in between, especially like once you get to Koga, it's like Koga, then you immediately go to Silphco, Sabrina, Blaine, Giovanni. It's like you can just, as soon as you get there, you have to go through the Pokemon Mansion and stuff, but it's really not that big a deal. And then I was getting kind of worried there for a second, but Mew pulled through. And now this is where it's going to get very, very different from Mewtwo. Mew struggled really hard against Lorelei, a lot harder than I thought he would. I assumed since most of Lorelei's Pokemon are also water type, that the Thunderbolt would do enough damage to kill them. But this is one of those instances where Mew's 100 special really starts to show versus Mewtwo's 154. It helps him a lot in the beginning stages, the early fights, and even into the mid game kind of helps. But once you get to the Elite Four, that 100 really starts to not affect as much. He just doesn't have the chops to bring them down fast enough. They keep chipping away at him all the while. Especially the last two Pokemon. The Jinx is really, really bulky especially, and Lapras is just bulky in general. So Mew ends up getting brought down by the Lapras, I think a few times in this run. But you also have to think you're taking on an entire team, you know, 5 Pokemon that are all pretty bulky with just one. So Mew is still really strong, just not as strong as Mewtwo. I think it also goes to show a lot of the advantages that you get from leveling up, especially once you get to the Elite Four stage of the run. Each level really doesn't affect much. I mean, you're only getting, you know, 2 or 3 more special or 2 or 3 more health each level. So whereas Mewtwo was super strong, even at level 49, he would be able to beat Lorelei. Even with Mew having a couple extra levels on top of him, doesn't really do a whole lot extra. And that's where Mew starts to get hurt a little bit. But once you beat Lorelei, the rest of the Elite Four is pretty simple to beat. And from here on out, it's pretty smooth sailing until you get to the champion. Because like I said, Bruno he's not very good. His typings really didn't get a whole lot of love in Gen 1. Hitmonchan and Hitmonlee were kind of lackluster in terms of moveset. Same thing with Machamp. He has Submission, but Submission does 1/4 of his damage in recoil. And it's not even strong because Mew is Psychic type, so he resists the fighting. Bruno really doesn't stand a chance. Neither does Agatha, honestly. The only thing that Agatha really has going for her usually is that Gengar is really fast, and he has that Hypnosis Dream Eater combo that can be pretty devastating. But Mew having Stab Psychic, he really it just shuts them down before they can even get up and start trying to do anything. And then same thing with Lance. Lance having the Dragonairs, like, they're strong. They're not like super duper strong. Aerodactyl is really the only threat on his team. He's got 2 4x weaknesses with the Gyarados and the Dragonite, because the Dragonite is dragon and flying, and those are both weak to ice. And then the Gyarados has the water flying. He gets the 4x weakness to Thunderbolt. And here we go. This was the hard part. Mew just did not have the chops to take on the champions team. It was another one of those moments where I was regretting getting rid of Body Slam a lot here. Alakazam is so bulky special-wise. It's really hard for Mew to hit him. He's only got 100 special. And then by the end of it, once you get through all 4 of his Pokemon, he just takes you down. So we tried again. The way I'm doing it is that I'm using the rare candy at the very end. I lost against him there, but I didn't use the rare candy as soon as I had saved or loaded the state. I fought through Lorelei again at the normal level that I beat her the first time, and then when I got to, once I passed Lance, before I fight the rival, I use another rare candy. And I was doing pretty good on this run. I thought I had it. It's a 61 health going into Blastoise, but he gets that Hydro Pump. That Hydro Pump is all it takes. Granted, if that Arcanine hadn't got the Stomp off, the Hydro Pump probably wouldn't have killed me, but we'll never know. So we just use rare candy and try again at a little bit higher of a level. I know you're probably wondering why you're seeing Lorelei again. I'll give you 2 guesses as to why. Seems smooth sailing, but then like I said, the Jinx and the Lapras are dangerous. Get that double blizzard to take me out. I didn't use a rare candy for that one though. So I skipped 2 more attempts. I got up to 2 more times at 58 and 59. Same deal. Even at level 60, I'm not one-shotting the Pidgeot, which doesn't bode well. And then the Alakazam. I might have been able to do it a little bit better, maybe a little bit lower level if I had Body Slam still. And maybe one day I'll go back and check and see if Body Slam is a good move to have in that fight. But for this run, I just thought Psychic would be better because I have that stab for the Pokemon earlier on that I needed it for. And then this time, level 60 was the one. So yeah, overall, Mew needed 14 rare candies. Which was pretty crazy, going from Mewtwo's 1 rare candy. And then he was at a much higher level. I think Mewtwo ended at level 51. And so Mew has ended at level 61. With a much higher time as well. He didn't get to the 3-hour mark, which is surprising, but we were close at 252. So, level 61, 14 rare candies, and a 252. I imagine that'll get beat. He'll get pushed down by something else. Probably Aerodactyl or one of the other really fast, strong Pokemon like Gengar or something like that. But yeah, so that was Mew. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, subscribe so you can see the next ones when they come around. Yeah, all that good YouTuber stuff. I will see you guys in the next one.